Welcome back. My name is Darren Thomas and I am the Director of Educational Research Techniques. In this video, we're going to learn how arrays and subroutines can work together inside Excel VBA. So let's go ahead and see what we can learn. So we're going to start by explaining what our goal is. Our goal is going to be, we want to create a subroutine that can take an array and divide the numbers inside of the array and find out whichever ones have a remainder or a modulus of 1. So if I had to show you real quick, this is our array, if you will. Very, very simple. It's already inside the worksheet. And we want to divide each of these numbers by 9. We're going to be able to pick any number, but we're going to pick 9 for this example. And we want to see which of these numbers have a remainder of 1. That is our goal. So what we got to do now is we got to declare our subroutine here. So we're going to call it, first we got to put option base 1, sorry. And then we got to give our subroutine a name. Remainder 1, not the deepest, but you get it. Now we need to declare some variables here. Okay, we've dimmed our variables that we're going to be using. So I is going to be for counting our rows, J for counting our columns, and then N is going to serve a specific purpose for getting the number that from the user that we're going to divide the numbers inside the array with. Then, excuse me, we're going to have to count our rows here for NR, count our columns, and C. C is our count variable. In other words, every time a number meets the criteria of being able to have a remainder of 1 is going to trigger this to keep count of that. So now with that, we need to, of course, set up our actual variables for counting, not set them up, but to allow what kind of data is going to be inputted into our NR, NC, and N variables. So let's go ahead and do this. Now what you can see here is what we're going to set our different variables to so far. So NR is going to count the number of rows. It's going to be set to counting the number of rows. NC is going to be set to counting the number of columns, and N is going to be set the value for taking the number from the user. Now we need to create our for loop. It's going to be a nested for loop, which is standard by now if you've watched any of these videos in the past. So here's the for loop completed. So we're going to set I starting at 1 all the way to NR. So this will count the number of rows, and NR will be set to whatever many rows there are. In our example, there's only 2 rows. And then from here, you can see that we're going to go for J equal to 1 to however many columns there are right here. And then this selection right here, we're looking for when the modulus or when the remainder is 1. So for selection I through J, so in other words, whatever highlighted cells we have there, when the modulus equals 1, and that's going to be based on our input box. So the modulus of N when it equals to 1. All right, so whatever that number is. When then that happens, we're going to increase our C, our count for our C variable by 1, and then we'll end it. And then when we're done, we'll get this message box right here that says there were, however many numbers with a remainder of 1 when divided by whatever number you pick. So for our purposes, we're picking the number 9. So now you can see both screens here. And so we're going to try to run this by using the F8 to do it step by step. So if you look down here in the lower corner, you can see all my variables have been dimmed. And we're going to go through this slowly. So you can see we have 2 rows. That makes sense. You can see that to the left. 2 columns. Again, you can see that. And now it's going to ask for the number. So I'm going to divide all these numbers by 9. So for example, in cell A1, it'll be 19 divided by 9. And if the modulus is 1, it'll move the count variable up by 1 point. So I put in 9, press OK. Continue going through this. Going through the process. Now it's starting to go through the numbers, counting. Continues to go through the process, counting. All right, almost done. Counting. Looks like we're done. And now we get a message box. And so it tells us right here, there were 3 numbers with a remainder of 1 when divided by 9. And so you can see that right there. 19 divided by 9 has a remainder of 1. 28 divided by 9 has a remainder of 1, and 10 divided by 9 has a remainder of 1. 8 divided by 9 does not have a remainder of a 1. So that's our answer. And so you can see that's when we pretty much complete the process here. So this is somewhat, complicated, but with a little bit of practice, you are able to do these kind of things. So let me try to summarize what we did here and wrap up the video. So our goal in this video was to show how subroutines and arrays can work together for some sort of a practical purpose. And so for our goal in this video, we wanted to take the selection or an array from the worksheet and figure out which of these numbers have a remainder of 1 when the user puts in whatever number they want. For us, we put in the number 9. That's what we did. So we had to, of course, dim many variables here. We talked about these already. Then we had to figure out how to get input values for these variables. So sometimes we use functions inside VBA. Other times, for like the n, the user has to input a value. And then down here, we just ran our nested for loop where it goes through each row and column, dividing each one by the number 9 to see if there's a remainder of 1 or not. If there is a remainder of 1, then we would update our C function here to increase the value by one unit, 1 point. And then when we were finally done, we would exit out here and it would tell you how many numbers had a remainder of 1 when they were divided by 9. That's what we picked. For our n, we picked 9. But you could pick whatever number you want because, again, it's based off of user input. So my name is Darren Thomas. I am the Director of Educational Research Techniques. Thank you for watching and take care.